This is a tutorial for character rigging, and step 1 is going to be to pick your robot. You can see there are 50 different robot options. I'm going to go ahead and do number 28. Some of these you can see have knees and elbows, and some of them don't. Some of them are straight on and some of them are quarter views. So you select it, drag it into Photoshop. Going to scale it up. My Photoshop file is 16 by 9. Okay, so first, step 1, we're going to go ahead and remove the background, which is right here. If you do not see this window, go to Window, Contextual Taskbar. So just so we can see that we completely remove the background, I'm going to add a solid color. So remove background. Okay, and you can see when it made a background, it created a layer mask. So I'm going to go ahead and fix whatever is still missing. Just brush it away with the brush tool. If my mask is black and the area that I'm keeping is white, then to get rid of other areas, I need to paint with black. Just going to go ahead and remove some of these edges, and then I'm going to zoom in and look at some of these details. Selecting the magic wand tool, I'm going to click in here and any area that's still white. So any area that's still white, I'm going to come here and select it. And notice with my magic wand, I have contiguous unchecked, which means any area that's white is going to be selected. If I do have it checked, then it's only going to select that small area. So make sure you uncheck it and then select it, and any area that still has white will be selected. Come in here with your brush tool and remove any area that needs to be adjusted. I need to zoom in here more just to see what's going on. So you can see that the background removal didn't do that much of an amazing job. So you might have to come in here and manually just remove it. Once we have the character locked out and ready to go, let's duplicate that layer. And then I'm going to create a new layer and merge these two, that way the layer mask gets deleted. So you can see now it's just a layer without a layer mask. And if you click the magic wand, you can see if there's any other random stuff that needs to be deleted, and there is. So we're going to Command I to invert it, grab our eraser tool, come here and just delete all of these extra marching ants that are outside of our design. Okay, let's select the magic wand, select the area again. Let's see if there's anything that I missed. Here's a few more. Shift Command I's to invert it. Okay, now that we have everything cleaned up, I'm going to duplicate this robot layer again. First rename it. Duplicate it. And then hide one of the layers. So the next step now is to separate all of the body parts. If I want the fingers to move, I need each finger on a separate layer, each body part in a separate layer, because next we're going to be creating a character rig. So I would select this polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to come in here and just trace it. For the hand, this is our little elbow. So I'm going to select it above the elbow and try to align the edge with the edge of the elbow. Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and then align it again. I'm going to rename this L for left arm. Next, I'm going to come in here and trace the arm. Again, cut it at this little elbow here. Make sure you have the robot copy layer selected. Command C to copy, Command V to paste. And I want to erase the edges of it. Make sure your hardness is at 100%. That way you don't get a fuzzy edge. I'm going to go ahead and align that. And then I'm going to zoom in. What I want to do next is hide the robot, hide this arm. And just to make sure I clean up the edges here. Next, I'm going to select my clone tool, and I'm going to extend this arm a little bit. That way, when it is rotating, we don't get a white crack right here. So what I'm going to do with my clone tool selected, I'm going to hold down Option, click to get a clone from, and then I'm going to come in here and clone it too. Make sure your opacity is at 100%, and go ahead and clone it. Alright, I'm going to turn this layer back on. There we go. That way when it bends, it's going to align. And then I'm going to, with my eraser tool, just come in here and create a nice clean edge. There we go. So now we can see. If I take this layer and change the opacity to 55, just so you can see how much it overlaps, that's how much I overlapped it. And I actually want to do the same with this part. That way it can go behind my robot's body. Let me align it here. So I'm going to go ahead and extend it a little bit. So I'm going to get my clone tool, click, and then just draw it out. I'm going to just clone part of it. And then down here, click Option to clone it. There we go. I'm going to select my polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to come in here and clean up some of these edges. Delete what I don't need. So there you go. It extended it a little bit. Left bicep. For now, I'm going to hide these layers. Turn my robot on, and I'm going to select the body. I'm going to come in here. Notice I'm selecting, aligning it with the edge wherever there's joints. So Command C to copy, Command V to paste. I'm going to move it to align it with the robot. And hide the robot, that way we can see what we have left. With my eraser tool, I'm going to erase any edges that I don't need. There we go. And I'm actually going to extend the neck as well. I'm going to call it body and neck. Oop. And I'm going to move it all the way on top of the arm. If I change it to 55, you can see how much the arm overlaps. Okay, I'm going to extend the neck. So I'm going to select my clone tool, come in here, and just clone it up. Copy the head, Command C to copy, Command V to paste, align it, and then let's rename it and move it all the way up top. That way it's above the neck and body. If you need to nudge stuff, you can use the arrows on your keyboard. So let's make the head 55 so we can see the overlap. There we go. The antennas should be separate too if you want them to move at all. The eyes I would make separate too, especially the pupils. So I'm going to come in here actually and click and hold to select your elliptical marquee. I'm going to come in here and select this eye. So Command C to copy, Command V to paste. I'm going to call it left eye. Repeat that with this one. Command C to copy, Command V to paste, right eye. If you want to get all detailed, you can also make these highlights on separate layers, but I'm not going to do that. Let's hide these for now. Next, I'm going to come in here, select my clone tool, and clone over the iris of this eye. That way when my eyeball moves, wherever the robot is looking, it's not going to mess with the iris. It's not going to be messed up. Okay. We should also create new layers for the smile as well. Like separate layers. I'm going to separate the arm. Again, same as before, we want to separate it right at the elbow. Command C to copy, Command V to paste. Let's align it. Going to nudge it with my nudge tool. Next, let's draw the bicep. Command C to copy, Command V to paste. Let's erase this white line. And we're going to clone it to extend it. Going to trim this a little bit. Okay, clone this as well. Go ahead and move it to line it up. All right. Next, we are going to separate the feet. If you have feet that have knees, then I would recommend that you go ahead and separate them. I'm going to separate this part of the foot and the actual leg because I have a joint right here. So let's go ahead and line this up. And I'm going to extend it. That way when the body is moving, we don't have a white line. I'm going to go ahead and hide this, hide the body. Select my polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to get a nice clean edge right here. Clean it up. Next, I'm going to separate this part. That way there is a nice little joint. I'm going to do Command X to delete it, Command V to paste. That way I don't have to do the double the work and separate from the layers. So left shoe. I want to go ahead and make sure we have a nice clean round shape here. That way when it rotates, it's clear that it's a little, that there is a gear here that rotates. Next, I'm going to hide the shoe and extend the leg a little bit. Clean up the edges. Okay, let me show you how much that overlapped. There you go. Okay, now with this one as well. Again, I'm making this round because this joint right here would be round. That way it's very smooth. Smooth rotation. Command X, Command V to paste. Okay. I'm gonna call it the right shoe, hide the shoe. fix up the leg a little bit. Clone it to extend it. Option Command I to invert the selection. That way it clones it where it needs to. There we go. Okay, turn the shoe back on. Change this to 55 so you can see the overlap. Okay, let's turn the body and neck. Okay, so now we can see we have a lot of layers. Any layers you don't need, you can delete. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this in a robot animation folder and call it robot_rigging. Keep it as a Photoshop. I'm going to call it _ all art. That way I know that it has all of the art in it. New folder, 1_ character, design, create 1_ original art. I'm going to save it there because from this file, I'm not going to delete my original character and everything in it, because just in case I need it, I have it. And I can go back to this. So Command S to save. Then I'm going to go to File, Save As. Go back one folder to character design, and I'm going to call it Robot Rigging Front View. Robot Rigging Front View, hit save. And then I'm going to come in here and delete all of the layers I don't need. That way I just have all of the layers, the eyes, the arms, just those layers, essential layers. And I'm going to select my crop tool, crop my canvas. And it can come in here and get as detailed as you want, like separate all of the fingers if you want it to hold stuff, separate the antennas if you want it to move the antennas. So there we go, Command S to save. And now my character is ready to be put into After Effects. I'm going to go ahead and open After Effects. New project, double click here, let's add it. Format, import as, composition, retain layer sizes, hit open. Editable layers, okay. So there is my robot. I'm going to create a new composition, call it Scene 1. Preset, I'm going to do this third option, the 29.97 frames per second, square pixels. Resolution, I'm going to do full. And I'm going to make Scene 1 30 seconds long for the duration. Hit OK. If you get this error that said the refresh, make sure you caps locked is unlocked. Next, I'm going to open my character, double click on the robot view, Command A to select all the layers, Command C to copy, go to Scene 1, Command V to paste. Notice my character is a lot larger than my work area. So my work area is all the way zoomed out. You can see how huge my character is. If you try to scale it, it's going to do weird stuff. Do you see? So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to Command Z to undo it. And next, I'm going to link all of these, do a parent link to the body. So I'm going to select one of these and then link it to the body and neck. That way you can see now all of the parts are linked to the body and the neck. And I'm going to come in here and get specific. Let's make this longer so I can see what these are. And now you want to select your body and neck layer. Come in here and scale it. And also position it where you need to so it's on there. And notice as I scale my body and neck, everything else is scaling because it is parented to it. So I can come in here and move my body wherever I want on my space, and there we go. Next, I want to come in here and be very specific. For example, the left eye should actually be parented to the head. The right eye as well, to the head. Let's see. Head, robot. Okay. I'm going to come in here. You can see right now this is the rotation point. If I come in here and I try to rotate it, it rotates from this point. So I'm going to Command Z to undo that. We need to move this rotation down to the neck. So make sure you select this tool right here and then come in here and move the rotation down here. That way now when I rotate it, it rotates right there. It looks like I might even need to extend my neck even longer depending on how much I want to tilt my head. But you can always update the Photoshop file and then come in here and update the layers. With my left and right eye, okay, it's great. So my left arm, I'm actually going to parent it to the left bicep and zoom in here. 400. Select my hand tool. Move over here so I can see what I'm doing. Again, select this tool right here. I'm going to move the rotation over here. Let's see how that works. Okay. And you can see I probably should have cleaned this edge up better because it's a little bit funky. Let's see if I move it over here, if that makes a difference. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that looks a lot better. So I'll rotate it from there. I'm going to come and separate these fingers, but for the sake of this tutorial, to speed it up, I didn't do that. Okay, so the bicep is connected to the body, but we need to move the rotation point. Okay, let's come in here and test it out. Okay, that looks great. Yeah, and again, I probably should have extended it that way and rounded it off. So I'm going to go back in Photoshop and fix that. Let's move over to the other side of the body. Okay, so again, the arm, we're going to actually parent it to the bicep. Oops, wrong bicep. And again, move the rotation point up here. Let's just test it out to make sure it looks real. Well, that looks great. The bicep parented to the body, great. Let's move the rotation point and test it out. Great, that looks good. Again, I probably should have extended it and made it a circle. That way it has a rotation cuff like our shoulders would have. Okay, let's move down. and the legs. So left shoe needs to be parented to the left leg. And again, move the rotation over here. Let's test it out. Oh, that looks great. Left leg, let's move the rotation point. Let's test it out. That looks good. So right leg, let's move the rotation point, test it out. Good. Now the shoe, let's move the rotation point. Let's parent it to the leg. So right shoe needs to go to the right leg. Okay, perfect. Let's test it out. Cool. And now if I come here and I test out this rotation, now that it's parented, you'll see the shoe moves with it. You can also rotate these separate as you do keyframes. Alright, so it looks like I have everything parented. I'm going to Command S to save it. And I'm going to call this robot. Robot Empire underscore RND1 for round 1. And I'm going to save it in its own folder called 2 underscore After Effects. So AE for After Effects animation files. That way I know exactly where all of my After Effects files are saved. Hit create, save. So you can see scene 1, everything is linked. I'm actually going to Command C to copy it, come over here in my robot rigging front view, Command V to paste it, and then I'm going to scale it. So back to 100%. That way my character rig has all of the everything linked in it, and if I ever need to go back in case I need the front view for another scene, I don't have to redo everything. So here we go, and I'm going to close that, save it for later. Over here I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it character 1 underscore character designs, and I'm going to move my front view in it just to keep things organized for me. Here they are. If I ever need to go back, here it is. Okay, back to scene 1. So my character is ready to go, and now I can add my background layer to it and start animating.